Good morning everyone. I may have put this phone up in the past, but it may be an idea to refresh people and put it up again. This model is by Iskra, and it's an ATA 22, and it's by Iskra Kranj. Show you the picture of the underside. You've got your number there if it shows up. ATA 22. The Iskra trademark, which is a spark, because translated Isla means spark. Another number up there. Numbers there. That is the underside. Let's turn him back over. I purposely took the dial out so you can see the bell. Very simply made bell, but nevertheless it's quite effective. Also a little bit of paint to make sure the bell gongs remain in place, so they're always in adjustment. You've got the printed circuit board. Looks very modern actually. The induction, the side tone coil with clear markings on it as well, and on the bell coil you've got clear markings. It looks like this one is 1400 ohms. It's got 0.09 copper. That's obviously why it's made. Of course, all these are copper, normally enamelled. The rest of the board, you've got your capacitor. You've just got the one. You've got a resistor underneath there. It's a very basic circuit. Unfortunately, I haven't got the circuit diagram. That wasn't in there. What I did notice, and I might have mentioned this when I showed this before, you've got two diodes or rectifiers there, but they're only connected on one side. Either when they made the board up, soldered it all up, this was genuinely missed out, or it's there for a reason, whether you want to have, and I'm pretty sure this would be an anti-click device for your thing called for the sound, so that you don't get any loud clicks in your ear. So the receiver would have that arrangement connected across it. Sometimes it's in like a solid device, but here I'm pretty sure that's what those two are. I haven't messed about with soldering it in, just let's leave it as it is. It would mean taking the board out, gently turning it over so you can get your soldering iron under there. I thought, no, I'm going to leave it. It may be there for a reason. I'm not worried about the odd click. There's your terminals, or where they all go in the back. They're on little push-on types. It is, in fact, quite a well-made phone, well laid out. No extra components that are not really needed. So it is a basic circuit. I think this is probably the age as shown on one of the components, 77, which would make sense. You've got your cradle operating there. with a nice hefty spring to return it. A lot of it looks very much ideas taken from some of the American phones. And that is more or less all I can say on the circuit. Having a look at the dial, now I just mentioned American, and there's the dial, which is certainly based on the Western Electric type of dial. It is typically American style, not made in America, but it has been obviously, their ideas has been used. It's good, well made. Genuine brass, or brass metal. It's not horrible plastic. I know it's got a plastic cover over it. There's a dial. It's also interesting, you've got only 3 wires going to the dial. There's obviously clever circuitry in there, so it works efficiently. Turning him over. The front of the dial. Typical finger stop that you often find on these Iskra phones, which incidentally are made in Yugoslavia. I believe it's not called Yugoslavia now, but I haven't kept up with my geography, so you'll have to excuse that. There's the dial itself. It's got the name Iskra Kranj and the spark symbol again. So that's your dial. Nice clean dial. Works very well. As I say, these American type dials are normally quite good, and this one is definitely based on the Western Electric dial. Now, leaving the dial, let's go on to the handset. Okay, it's going to need a bit of cleaning up there. It's where I've taken the caps off. Looking at the receiver, well made receiver actually. It's got a bit of weight to it. It's obviously well made. On there, you've got the resistance, which they say is 5k, so that's obviously the resistance of the windings. OTK 74. It's got 74, which I don't think's a year, because if you look under here, 02/77, so that is more likely to be the actual year. Whether that was when this was patented, I don't know. But there's the receiver, and it's just fits in there. So there's no wires connected to it. It's just connected by pressure on those springs, which is rather nice. The transmitter is, once again, mentioned this yesterday on the other phone I was tinkering about with, typical continental type transmitter, also by Iskra. It's got the trademark there. It's also got the other number there as well. No date on this. Iskra, you've got Iskra on this one. Funny enough, the receiver, or does it? Is that the little trademark in there of it? Yeah, I think that could be the trademark in there of Iskra. It's very small. And I say, this transmitter is typical of a lot of European type phones, and that obviously fits in there with the two springs making contact. I've noticed that spring's a bit loose, but it's not loose on the screw, it's just loose. It's there so it seats onto that nicely, so that makes good contact. Anyhow, that is more or less it. I'll show you the case. There's the case made out of, is it ABS? I think it's ABS. You have a position there for an earthing button, which in this case is not used, so it's not even shown. You've got the trademark again on that. Space for your number. Lacking inside is a diagram, but I'll probably pick a diagram up from one of the sites, so it's not the end of the world. And anyhow, it's quite a simple looking printed circuit board, so you should be okay. And once again, nicely held on with 4 screws, which have got a nice brass inserts, and the screws are captive. So it is a well-made, thought-out phone. I believe Siemens was involved somewhere along the line. Don't know when, but I believe they were associated with Iskra at some time. But this phone has got, it says nothing about Siemens, and the dial is certainly not the Siemens type. Ends in little spade terminals. The ones we're interested to make it work, they use the numbering or lettering A and B. So it looks like it's brown and white. So brown and white should be the connections you would use. Whether you'd need to link it to another wire to make the bell work, I don't know. It all depends. Sometimes the bells work on just the 2 wires, which is nice and easy. Or sometimes you have to link another wire onto it. Anyhow, there we are. That's more or less all I've got to say with this phone. I do apologise if it's appeared before. It probably has. Now, quite a few phones upstairs. I've been sorting stuff out, trying to tidy it up a bit. It's a bit of a job. Yeah, it's got to be done. At the same time, making a fuss of my new pussycat. It's very, very friendly. It's a lovely cat. Anyhow, that's all I've got to say. And any comments, please make. And as I normally say, I don't know what I'm going to put up next. We'll find something upstairs, and we'll catch you all then. Thanks again for watching. Thank you.